there, this is Tata, and welcome to the Wrestling Time Post Show. It is Wednesday, May 10th, 2023, which means that tonight I will be talking about AEW Dynamite. Wow, tonight's show was such newsworthy show. No, seriously, it was. So much happened. We had a lot of surprises, an announcement, but let's kick it off with arguably the biggest shocker of the night. Alright, so tonight's Dynamite was main evented by a steel cage match with Jon Moxley and Kenny Omega. And we got to talk about this finish because the finish is really what was probably the biggest shocker. So, as we all know, Callis was out there. And Kenny Omega pretty much had this match won. You know, Moxley had gotten a screwdriver. Callis took that screwdriver from Jon Moxley. Then Kenny Omega hit the V-trigger to Jon Moxley, which was followed by a one-wing angel. So Kenny Omega is getting ready to pin Jon Moxley. Mind you, again, the match is pretty much his. So what ends up happening is Callis betrays Kenny Omega. He betrayed him. He hit him in the face with the screwdriver. This allowed Jon Moxley to pin him. And so Jon Moxley is victorious. I cannot believe that happened. And as a result of this, Kenny Omega is busted open. Callis then throws the screwdriver. And you can see him whispering something to Kenny Omega. And he gave him a kiss on the forehead. And I was just like, holy smokes. I cannot believe that happened. I mean, talk about shocking moment. If there's a shocking moment of 2023, it will certainly be that. I would say that much right now. Okay, so that's how Dynamite ended. And I'm still my mind was completely blown by that. But let's talk about this match. So before this match even got started, Jon Moxley immediately went after Kenny Omega. And Wheeler Yuta, Claudio attacked Kenny Omega. The Bucks came down to help Kenny Omega. The Bucks threw Wheeler Yuta off the ramp. Claudio threw Matt Jackson off the ramp. Nick Jackson got in Bryan's face, who was on commentary. And then after that, Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley go enter the cage, and the match officially starts. The rivalry dates back to Double or Nothing 2019. If you guys remember, at the end of the main event, Jon Moxley attacked Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega finds a barbed wire steel chair, but Moxley countered it. Omega managed to hit Jon Moxley in the back with that barbed wire steel chair. And this is their fourth singles match, the first being the Lights Out at Full Gear 2019, which Moxley won. Then it was Winter is Coming 2020, which Kenny Omega won. And followed by that barbed wire death match in March of 2021. You know, we all know how that match ended. Jon Moxley starts bleeding from his back after Kenny Omega hits him in the back with that barbed wire steel chair, and after he stomps Moxley. I really like the fact that Moxley used a camera on Kenny Omega, and then he kissed the camera. And Moxley then slowly gets busted open from the face. Kenny Omega goes spine first into a steel cage. Moxley hit Kenny Omega in the back with that steel chair. I really like the fact that Kenny Omega did the bulldog to Jon Moxley onto that steel chair. Moxley doing a superplex to Kenny Omega onto the steel chair. And then when it came back from picture to picture, Jon Moxley had the steel turnbuckle inside Omega's mouth. And the crowd was chanting, "You sick fuck." So then afterwards, Moxley starts hitting Kenny Omega with that turnbuckle, and he chokes him. Jon Moxley hits Kenny Omega with the knee to the face. Moxley finds a bag of broken glass, which was first introduced in their 2019 match. Oh my god. And then at one point, Kenny Omega dropped Jon Moxley into the broken glass. We get another knee to Jon Moxley, which is followed up by a Snapdragon into the broken glass. And so afterwards, Kenny Omega hit the V-trigger to Jon Moxley who was on the cage, and that causes the cage to break. This is how John Moxley gets the screwdriver they talked about at the beginning. And then we get that whole finish with Don Callis. I still think that was the biggest shocker that happened on tonight's Dynamite, honestly. Because nobody saw it coming. I didn't see it coming. Like, my jaw dropped when I saw that. What did you guys think of the main event and of Don Callis' betrayal? So, that's not the only thing that happened tonight. We saw the return of Miro and we saw the return of Thunder Rosa, who were in backstage segments, I should say separate backstage segments, and they each entered Tony Khan's office. Of course, this is related to Tony Khan's announcement on tonight's Dynamite. He said that tonight's Dynamite was one of the strongest cards they've ever had, one of the best lineups they've ever had, and stars lined up to wrestle. He says to stay tuned to TNT next week for a huge announcement. And yes, that was not a mistake. He did say TNT. And now Fightful Select reports that the returns of Miro, Thunder Rosa, and others coming are directly tied to the debut of AEW Collision. So what do you guys think Tony Khan's announcement for next week is? I do think it has something to do with the AEW Collision show that's coming out. Could we also find out more about the TV deal that AEW is getting with Warner Media? Who knows? I honestly think it has more to do with the Saturday night show than the TV deal. But hey, you never know. We might get the best of both worlds. But what do you guys think that the announcement is about? Let me know in the comment section down below. Okay. So now that we've talked about all the major stuff that happened on Dynamite, let's kick things off. Tonight's show opened up with a double Jeopardy match. It's Claudio Castagnoli versus Fenix. So whichever man won got a shot at their opponent's title. For instance, if Fenix defeated Claudio Castagnoli, he would get a shot at the Ring of Honor World title. If Claudio Castagnoli defeated Fenix, he and a partner of his choosing will get a shot at the Lucha Brothers Ring of Honor tag titles. So this is an incredible match. We had Claudio doing a backbreaker to Fenix. We had Fenix doing a hurricanrana to Claudio. He did two topes to Claudio on the outside. So then Claudio sent Fenix into the barricade. Now I thought this next spot was pretty cool. Where Fenix, he walked the barricade and then he did a hurricanrana to Claudio Castagnoli. You see Wheeler Yuta and Brian watching backstage. Fenix does another hurricanrana from the middle rope to Claudio. Claudio counters the code red with the lariat. Once again, Claudio throws Fenix over the barricade. Fenix does a cutter to Claudio. Then he does a moonsault to Claudio on the outside. He hits Claudio with the thrust kick. Fenix gets hit with the Ricola bomb. And it's over. Claudio Castagnoli is victorious. And if you ask me, I'm not surprised by that outcome. I mean, it makes sense that Claudio Castagnoli won when you think about it because he is a Ring of Honor World Champion. So it would make sense that the BCC would probably challenge for those tag titles. Now, which partner he chooses, maybe Wheeler Yuta. I think he would choose Wheeler Yuta or maybe Brian. But I could definitely see the BCC challenging for those tag titles and obviously winning them. I wonder, though, if John Moxley would challenge Samoa Joe for that ROH TV title, and then BCC would have all of the men's gold in ROH. So I'm just throwing that out there. We get an MJF promo. When the company first started, him and the other pillars swept the nation with their talent, and they came from nowhere. He compares them to the Beatles. So MJF says he's Paul McCartney. He says he's the best, and he's the person who will have the most longevity. He calls Sammy Guevara Ringo Starr because he's wildly talented and incredibly stupid. He calls Jungle Boy the cool, calm, and collective brooding young stud and compares him to George Harrison. He says that Darby Allin is a dark, brooding artist just like John Lennon. What do you guys think? Do you guys think those are accurate comparisons? I mean, he's comparing the four pillars to the Beatles. So let me know in the comment section if you guys think those are accurate comparisons. He says that he wants the other pillars to step up and says, what have they done? MJF says that he's fought some of the best, and he proceeds to name John Moxley, CM Punk, Chris Jericho, Cody Rhodes, Bryan Danielson. Questions what the other four pillars have done. He says he's had the best Iron Man match in pro wrestling, which I was there for. That was at AEW Revolution. Incredible. The best single dog collar match in the history of pro wrestling. And at Double or Nothing, he will be in the best four-way match ever. and his reign of terror has just begun. Honestly, I really like this promo. You know, MJF always cuts good promos, so I'm really excited for that 4-way match. I wish I could be there live to see that in person. That's going to be incredible, but it's going to be epic. And I honestly think it's going to take a lot for MJF to win. He's probably going to cheat to win, honestly. We get an FTR in-ring promo / segment. Dax Harwood says himself and Cash owe someone an apology, and they ask Mark Briscoe to come out. But instead of Mark coming out, Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett come out, and Sanjay says that FTR has one job, and that's to accept their challenge. FTR then asks the crowd if they should accept the challenge. FTR says they will only accept their challenge at Double or Nothing if they admit to using Mark Briscoe to get to them. Mark Briscoe comes out. He comes out with cups, and he says that these fellas have had a hard time controlling their emotions, especially when they're in the same facility. He says that he talked to Tony Khan, and it's going to be a tag match at Double or Nothing, and Mark Briscoe is the special guest ref. So Jay Lethal throws beer at Dax, and then a brawl breaks out. And then Dax Harwood accidentally pile drivers Mark Briscoe. That's not going to be good. So I'm very curious to see what this leads to. We get a Chris Jericho backstage interview. He starts questioning why everyone is happy that Adam Cole got the best of him after an unprovoked attack. He says Adam Cole is a coward and he went to get legal counsel. He says that Adam Cole is banned and not allowed inside if Chris Jericho is there. Then Roderick Strong approaches Chris Jericho and says Adam Cole is one of his best friends, and he challenges Chris Jericho to a fight in a false count anywhere match. Or is Chris Jericho too much of a coward? Chris Jericho says it's a good quality that Roderick Strong wants to stand up for his friend. Jericho says he has a whole army behind him and the match will happen next week. Roderick Strong then pulls out a piece of paper and says he got legal counsel too, and the JAS is banned from the building. I thought it was a really good segment. And I honestly cannot wait for this Falls Count Anywhere match because Chris Jericho always has something up his sleeve. And I think he's going to find some way to either get the JS inside of the building or, remember, it's a Falls Count Anywhere match. So they can go anywhere and get a pinfall. So what if this match goes to the outside of the arena and JAS is there waiting? We'll see. But I think that Falls Count Anywhere match is going to be really interesting. So then we get a Sammy Guevara promo. And he says he's one of the pillars that should have never been. He's definitely the black sheep and has been under Jericho's mentorship since he came to AEW. He says that this is the biggest match of his career. And then Ty Mello and Chris Jericho come out talking about Sammy Guevara. And Sammy basically ends by saying, if you listen to what's in your heart and you go for it, then it will come true. So awesome advice. And like I said earlier, I can't wait for that 4 pillars 4-way match at Double or Nothing. It's going to be a really good match. After this, that's the Tony Khan announcement, but since I talked about that at the beginning, next we get the AEW International Championship match. It's Orange Cassidy versus Daniel Garcia. This was actually a really good match. I know some people are probably getting sick and tired of Orange Cassidy's reign, and I can understand that. I mean, it's pretty much like what's this going to lead to? Like, who is he going to drop the title to? You know, so I can kind of see why people are getting tired of this title reign. But I will say, Orange Cassidy always delivers in his matches. I don't think his matches disappoint. And I will say, they made the right call not opening with the Orange Cassidy match. I think he has opened Dynamite every time he defends the title. So it was a nice change that he didn't open tonight's Dynamite. In the middle of this match, like, Daniel Garcia starts dancing. Like, he busts out those moves. Orange Cassidy does a side headlock to Daniel Garcia, followed by an arm drag and then an arm bar. Orange Cassidy, being Orange Cassidy, puts his hands in his pockets and he does a drop kick to Daniel Garcia. Orange Cassidy bounces Daniel Garcia off the turnbuckle. Then he drives him into the barricade. Then Daniel Garcia drops Orange Cassidy on the ring apron. Daniel Garcia mocking Orange Cassidy by putting his hands in his pockets, and then he flips off the crowd. He does a superplex to Orange Cassidy, who then counters with the Slumdog Millionaire. You have elbow strikes to Daniel Garcia. Then we get Daniel Garcia doing a kick to the kneecap of Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy hits Daniel Garcia with the beach break. Daniel Garcia does a drop kick to the knee of Orange Cassidy, and then to add insult to injury, he mocks Orange Cassidy again by doing those little kicks that Orange Cassidy likes to do. He hits him with the pile driver, and once again, Orange Cassidy does the beach break. And then Daniel Garcia does the Dragon Tamer, followed by a crossface, and you think it's over because he starts stomping on Cassidy's hand. And like you can see Orange Cassidy is like red. Like he's no longer pale. Like he's freaking red. That's not enough. So afterwards, Orange Cassidy does a cradle. He reverses Daniel Garcia and he gets the 1-2-3 and he is AEW International Champion. So like I said, I know some people wanted to title change. Hell, I thought Daniel Garcia had this in the bag, but I guess not. But I can understand why people are getting tired of Orange Cassidy in his title reign. Let me know your thoughts on Orange Cassidy's title reign. And are you over it? Do you think he should drop the title? Let me know in the comment section. We find out we're going to get a trios match next week when Shida returns from Japan. It's going to be Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and the AEW Women's World Champion Jamie Hayter versus the Outcasts. So I'm kind of hoping that this isn't the end of the feud, and I'm still hoping for that blood and guts match. I'm still hoping, I'm still putting it out into the universe. But if this is the end of the feud, a trios match, it would say it's very disappointing and underwhelming feud. You had the potential to have it be a really good feud, and if this is how it ends, I don't think it was a good way to end a feud, but that's just my opinion. We get a Christian Cage in-ring promo. And he starts talking about how Detroit is literally the worst city in the country, and Tony Schiavone asked him why he's number one contender, and he says because he's Christian Cage. That's why he's a number one contender, because he's compiled a long list of accomplishments. Wonders what's up with all these wrestlers and their daddy issues. References how, much like his previous opponent, referring to Jungle Boy, and his current opponent, Wardlow, who had a father, he says that he's not going to go down that path with Wardlow because his father was a nobody. He says that Wardlow found that father figure in Arn, and that Arn was looking for a new son. He starts bath-mouthing Brock Anderson here. Then he calls Arn a lapdog for Rick and the other guy. And the entire arena starts chanting, Edge is better. Christian tells Detroit to kiss his ass. I'm just saying, heel Christian Cage is pretty good. I think we probably might get Wardlow versus Christian Cage at Double or Nothing for that TNT title. We get a Darby Allin promo. So Darby Allin talks about how he asked himself why he's on this earth, and it was to be a pro wrestler. He says that the reason why he does the crazy things he does in the ring is because it breaks mental barriers down in his head, and it makes him understand that he's capable of so much more than what people told him he was. And he wants to represent AEW as a world champion because he wants to give back, because they gave so much to him, his friends, and his family. Kind of how like Chris Jericho and Ty Mello came out talking about Sammy Guevara in his promo. Sting comes out talking about Darby Allin in this promo. And then Darby Allin says where he's going is to Double or Nothing, and he's going to be the AEW World Champion. So very good promo so far. By 3 of the 4 pillars from AEW. We get a no-hose Barb match. Julia Hart versus Anna J.A.S. Anna J attacks Julia Hart with a steel chair to the back as she's making her way to the ring. Julia sends Anna J into the barricade and then hits her with the kendo stick. Anna J then hits Julia with the kendo stick. Snap suplex to Julia on the ground. Julia bounces Anna J off the timekeeper's table. We get a spinning back kick by Anna J. Takes down Julia Hart and allows Anna J to set up a chair in the corner. Julia Hart reverses and then sends J headfirst into a chair in the corner. Julia Hart then goes under the ring and gets about 6 chairs. And she lays them out on the floor. Julia Hart attempts to do a suplex, but Anna J counters with a Nagashmi on the stack of chairs. Anna J then takes a trash can and she hits Julia with it. Then she puts a trash can on Julia and hits a spinning back kick into the corner. Julia Hart hits a superplex off the top rope. And the crazy thing is that the chairs were all in the ring, but they barely missed them. Then Julia Hart locks in the Heartless and Anna J taps out, so Julia Hart wins by submission. This is only the 3rd women's match to have these types of rules. We had the Lights Out match between Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and Thunder Rosa. Then we had the street fight between Ty Mello, Anna J, Penelope Ford, and the Bunny. And so now we have this one. So if we got these matches, I really still hope we get a blood and guts match between the Outcasts and the Originals. But I'm just gonna keep throwing that out there. and hope it manifests. Friends backstage interview. And Orange Cassidy says he thinks there's enough room in his backpack for more gold. Chuck Taylor says he wasn't told which role to pick, but he doesn't want that spooky girl running around. And Trent says that the spooky girl was banned from ringside. And Orange Cassidy just says that he's tired, and Renee Paquette pats him in the back. And I think we can all relate to Orange Cassidy. We all have our days and our moments when we're tired. So this leads into the open rules match for the trios titles. It's Best Friends and Bandido versus House of Black. So this is the first time ever that Bandido has teamed with the Best Friends. So just to recap, the open house match rules. We get a 20 count. Any 3 competitors can form a trio. There are no rope breaks. Disqualifications are enforced. And then dealer's choice. So Malachi Black and Bandido start this match. And then we get a double team on Malachi Black by Best Friends. Tremperetta does a DDT to Buddy Matthews. And then they see Orange Cassidy just watching backstage. Tremperetta does a stomp to Buddy Matthews. You got Bandido doing a drop kick to Malachi Black. He hits the crucifix to Brody King. You get Buddy Matthews doing a knee strike to Bandido. You get Brody King doing a knee strike to Chuck Taylor, which he follows up with a Dante's Inferno, and this allows House of Black to be victorious. No surprise there. And overall, I really like the aesthetics to this match. They dimmed the lights and they put like some LED screens. I thought it looked really cool and visually appealing. Like I said, Orange Cassidy was watching backstage. So when it cuts to the backstage, Orange Cassidy got laid out. And you know who laid him out? Kyle Fletcher of Aussie Open. And he's signaling that he wants the AEW International title. So that's going to be interesting. Let's see if Kyle Fletcher's the one to take that title off Orange Cassidy. We get Jungle Boy Jack Perry in the Final Pillars promo. He says he started training to be a wrestler at the age of 9. He knew he wanted to be a wrestler since he was a kid. Then again, Ty Mello and Chris Jericho spoke for Sammy Guevara. Sting spoke for Darby Allin. So Christian Cage spoke for Jack Perry. He says out of all the pillars, Christian aligned himself with Jack Perry. Jungle Boy says that Christian he wants to be the best pro wrestler in the world. He thinks that they're all different. He says he doesn't like either of the pillars. We find out AEW Rampage is going to be on Saturday this weekend. We get a Ricky Starks promo, and he says last week he did what he said he was going to do. And he's so sick of the Bullet Club. And he says that Jay was just super close of getting hit by a Rochambeau. He's going to show Jay White what a real legend in the making looks like. So I cannot wait for Jay White versus Ricky Starks. Should be a good match. And after this, we did get the steel cage match, which I talked about at the beginning. So I'm going to stop my review right there. Overall, I really enjoyed tonight's Dynamite. I don't think there is anything really that I could complain about. So I would have to say on a scale of 1 to 10, tonight's show was a Sean Spears perfect 10 out of 10. And I cannot wait for next week. It's probably going to be a very big show next week, especially with all the announcements that are probably going to come out from that show. But with that being said, thank you guys all so much for watching and for the continuous support. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell so you get notified whenever I go live or release a new video. And I'll see you guys Friday after SmackDown. Bye.